With only 2 weeks left until the release of the new season, things are starting to fall into place. We now have the official episode titles and synopsis, as well as a new trailer. So in today's video, we're going to analyze all of this new information. Let's start with the trailer because we only got a 30-second video. The most important part is this scene right here with Sophia. Just look at that evil smile. I believe this supports what most people already suspected, that Sophia is actually evil. From what we saw in the trailer, Sophia will play a major role in the upcoming events. She seems to be the replacement for Father Khatri, and we saw her having a strong connection with Kenny when the two of them are praying together. What's very important is that in Season 4, it's the first time we see a Bible in town, and that could be huge. I believe Sophia will gather a large following because she uses the Bible to ease people's suffering. We saw how important Father Khatri was to the town and how many people attended the Sunday sermons. And honestly, if that place wouldn't make you believe in God, I don't know what would. We also see her getting very close to Kenny, which makes a lot of sense. Kenny is now alone. Both of his parents are dead. Boyd is too occupied with everything that's happening. And Christy has Marielle back. That's why Kenny turns to Sophia. I believe the two of them will bond over the loss of their parents. Now, with this reveal that Sophia might actually be evil, things could completely turn around. I'm sure she would use all of those followers and Kenny to throw the town into chaos. There are two possibilities here. Either she has been a maniac from the start, or she could actually be the man in yellow in disguise. In the main trailer, we saw the man in yellow changing forms, and we even get a glimpse of him growing blonde hair. Exactly the same hair color Sophia has. So could this be how he infiltrates the town, disguising himself as Sophia? This would be the perfect disguise, and a cruel mockery. You have a woman of faith, someone you believe is pure, someone you rely on to guide you, and she turns out to be the ultimate evil tormenting you. Yeah, things are definitely going to get wild next season. Based on the background of this scene, it looks like it's happening at the clinic, in the rooms where the sick are kept. So, could this moment mean that Sophia kills someone? Maybe even one of the main characters? It also seems like Sophia will be staying with Sarah, based on that last scene where the voices are talking to Sarah. Do you think the voices told her that Sophia is actually the man in yellow in disguise? Maybe this is the season where we finally find out whether the voices are good or bad. Moving forward, we have a line from Julie. Everything in this place is impossible, but it's also real. What's interesting is that while she says this, she's holding one of Ethan's books. And surprisingly, it's not the Flight of the Cromenockle, which everyone assumes holds the key to solving this place. Instead, she's holding The Adventures of the Grand Gooligog. Could this mean that this book is actually more important than the Cromenockle? Let me know what you think, because if that's the case, it would completely flip our understanding upside down. I believe this line is part of a conversation where Julie tells someone, possibly Tabitha, that she can story walk, and Tabitha responds that it's impossible. I think Julie wants to test her new abilities at the tower ruins, but her mother forbids her from going there, especially after Jim was killed. Next, we have Boyd saying, there is something else here now, something new. I don't know if he's referring to the man in yellow or the new scarecrow monster. The trailer ends with the monsters capturing Jade and dragging him into the tunnels, and we'll talk more about this when we cover the episode synopsis. But I can say one thing for sure. Jade will be safe. No one would spoil the death of a main character like this in a trailer. If you're going to kill someone as important as Jade, you do it for shock value. You don't tease it. You want to catch the audience off guard. The last thing I want to point out about this mini trailer is the number of sequences from previous seasons. I believe this confirms that we'll see Julie story walking into the past and reliving those events from her own perspective. Now let's see what the episode synopsis can reveal. Starting with the first episode titled The Arrival, the synopsis reads, "A new arrival throws the town into chaos. Jade and Tabitha struggle with the revelation at the bottle tree. Boyd grapples with the implications of Smiley's return." Based on the trailer, a new arrival can only mean one thing. Sophia and her father. I don't think the man in yellow would be described as a new arrival. As for Boyd struggling with the implications of Smiley's return, I think he would keep this a secret. And I completely agree with that decision. We already have confirmation of this in the trailer when Donna tells him that people want to know what happened down there. Boyd will want to contain the situation and avoid spreading panic among the townspeople. He might share it with a few trusted people, but this has to remain internal. I also believe this will be the main catalyst that starts to break the people's trust in Boyd. The second episode is titled Fray, and its synopsis is quite sinister. A gruesome discovery sends shockwaves through the town as Jade and Tabitha struggle with the weight of their revelation. Simple and dark, and I believe that gruesome discovery is Jim's body. Based on the trailer, we can be almost certain they won't find it before the first night, since we saw a scene where Julie asked Tabitha where her dad is. At the end of Season 3, Jim and Tabitha had a fight, with Tabitha asking for time alone to process everything they had just learned. So she likely assumes Jim didn't come home because of that argument. Episode 2 is the perfect moment for that discovery. The first episode will show us the immediate aftermath of the finale, while the second episode will fully push us into the action. Episode 3 is titled Merrily We Go, and the description reads, Boyd tries to save Acosta from herself as Julie digs deeper into her newfound abilities. Tabitha embarks on a desperate gamble, and Victor joins Ethan in a quest for answers. Boyd tries to save Acosta from herself could be tied to the moment we see in the trailer where Boyd stops the ambulance. After analyzing that scene more closely, I noticed something new. We see the ambulance driving out of control and Kenny preparing the spikes to stop it. In that scene, we can clearly see Kenny and Marielle. Then in the moment where the ambulance is stopped and Boyd pushes Acosta, we see Christy and Marielle again, but this time Marielle is holding Christy, suggesting that Christy is injured and can't stand on her own. Taking into account that Marielle was helping Kenny with the spikes and is now supporting Christy, could this mean that Acosta kidnapped Christy and Boyd, along with the others, is trying to stop her? Could this be what Boyd tries to save Acosta from herself actually refers to? Moving on to Julie digs deeper into her newfound abilities. I believe this happens after the scene from the mini-trailer that I mentioned earlier. I still think Tabitha will forbid Julie from using this new ability, but Julie won't listen. She'll go to the ruins anyway. However, she won't be alone. Randall will be there to help her. We saw this in the main trailer. Randall and Julie arriving at the tower ruins, and later, Randall holding Julie in his arms. That moment likely happens after Julie wakes up from her story walking. And judging by the pain on her face, I believe she just witnessed her father being killed. As for Tabitha's desperate gamble, I don't have a clear answer. The best theory I can come up with is that she will go through the fairway tree once again to reach the lighthouse. Tabitha's main goal this season will be to save the children. That will define her entire character arc. She has lost Jim, so now she's willing to do whatever it takes to protect Julie and Ethan and get them home safely. That's why I believe this is the desperate gamble mentioned. It's a gamble because the last time we saw someone enter that faraway tree, they ended up inside a pool wall. So Tabitha would essentially be risking her life just to reach the lighthouse. As for the quest that Victor and Ethan are on, I believe it's connected to the discovery of the man in yellow's clothes in the forest. After seeing those clothes, Victor might remember that he drew something similar when he was a child, and that he buried those drawings near his truck. We saw in the trailer that he goes back to dig them up, which suggests that he may have encountered the man in yellow before. Episode 4 is titled Of Myths and Monsters, and the synopsis reads, An ominous discovery puts Boyd and his trusted circle on high alert. Julie searches for a way to harness her newfound abilities, and Sarah is once again tortured by the voices in her head. I believe that the ominous discovery is the man in yellow, and the fact that he can change forms. That would mean everyone in town becomes a suspect, even Boyd and his closest allies. Sarah being tortured by the voices is likely the same sequence we saw in the mini-trailer. In my opinion, This only strengthens the idea that the voice has told Sarah about the man in yellow. Maybe this is how Boyd learns about him, and the fact that he can transform into someone else. The episode title could also suggest that we'll learn more about the history and mythology of that place. Moving forward, the next episode is called What a Long, Strange Trip It's Been, and the description reads, Boyd and Jade set off on a desperate, mind-bending search for answers, while a food run to the settlement takes a chilling turn. First of all, I'm glad we finally get more scenes with Boyd and Jade. I've always felt like the two of them didn't have enough interaction. They would make a great duo. One is cynical and rational, the other impulsive and decisive. Maybe this is the moment where they finally share information, and I believe this is when Boyd learns about the reincarnation cycles in the children. The desperate, mind-bending search for answers likely refers to what we saw in the trailer. Boyd and Jade going into the underground tunnels, where Jade ends up being captured by the monsters. The second part of the synopsis, the food run to the settlement takes a chilling turn, probably refers to the Scarecrow monster attack. This would be very bad news for the townspeople because it means they might no longer be safe at night. Maybe their only hope is that the Scarecrow monsters don't operate inside the town, and instead target only the cabins in the woods. It's possible the forest is divided, with each type of monster controlling its own territory. The town belongs to the Smilers, the forest settlement to the Scarecrow monsters, and maybe the area near the lighthouse belongs to the Spiders. Episode 6 is the last one we have a full synopsis for, and it's titled, The Heart is a Lonely Hunter. The description reads, Boyd and Jade find themselves at odds over whether they can trust the knowledge in Jade's head. Deeply troubling news from the settlement makes its way back to town. I believe this synopsis connects closely with the previous episode. Regarding Boyd and Jade being at odds, I think this happens while they are deep inside the tunnels. They reach a crossroads. Everything points them to go right, but Jade wants to go left based on instinct. Just like he trusted his intuition about the melody, he believes the left path is the correct one. Boyd, on the other hand, knows better than anyone that you can't fully trust what this place shows you. Most of the time, it only leads to despair. Another possibility is that the knowledge in Jade's head comes from what happens after he is captured. As I mentioned before, he won't be killed. Instead, the monsters or the place itself might show him something important. Maybe the place where the children were sacrificed or the origin of the symbol. Whatever he learns is clearly something significant, but also so disturbing that even Boyd questions whether it can be trusted. For the final 4 episodes, we only have the titles: Best Laid Plans, Heavy is the Head, The Calm Before, and If a Tree Falls in the Forest. I don't know about you, but all of this just makes me even more excited for the new season. I honestly can't wait for the 19th. Let me know in the comments if you noticed anything new in the trailer or if I missed something important. Thanks for watching.